Hello everybody, Mac here. Welcome back to the show. Welcome to our first day of spooky season. Welcome to our first day of Bricktober. And to be completely honest, there is nothing I have that I would have rather started this season off with than what you are looking at right now. This is, of course, the Marvel Legends series celebrating 85 years, Ghost Rider. Not just any Ghost Rider, this is Danny Ketch. This is not Johnny Blaze. Johnny Blaze is a punk. This is the quintessential Ghost Rider that pretty much set the stage for what Ghost Rider was going to be, what his power set was going to be, just reinvigorated interest and excitement in the character. This was of course from the 90s, the age of the Edgelord, and he was the cornerstone, I guess you could say, of what would later become known as the Midnight Suns, with, of course, the seminal publication, or not publication, but the seminal crossover event, Rise of the Midnight Suns. And we actually have a few more figures representing the Midnight Suns and some Midnight Sun adjacency that we are going to be looking at this month. But right now, the first thing that we are taking a look at is my man, my hero, my champion, Ghost Rider. I have often said that Wonder Woman is my favorite comic book character. Wonder Woman is my favorite current comic book character. Danny Ketch, Ghost Rider, has been my favorite for a very long time, ever since that issue 1. I have been waiting for them to, and by them I mean Marvel, to revisit him in the comics, but every time a new series comes out, it's Johnny Blaze or it's somebody else, and the series never lasts long. Danny Ketch was the longest running Ghost Rider series to date, and I don't get why they keep depowering him and then giving him his powers back. Anyhow, enough about that. Let's look at the figure that I am very excited to be getting. We have our new Marvel Legends window packaging. I love this golden trim that they've been putting around it. I don't collect very much for Marvel Legends. As a matter of fact, I think the last thing I got that was Marvel Legends was the Amazon exclusive, the Cabal 3-pack. But I do really like the gold trim. You can see the Hellcycle in there, which I am very excited to get, because this is the last representation of this figure that I've had, complete with Hellcycle, and this is the old glow-in-the-dark Toy Biz bike. And I like this for what it is. It is charming, it is adorable in some ways, but it's also been like the only thing I've had that represents this. So that's why I kept it. That's why it's been very near and dear to me. The front shield is supposed to spring forward. That, I believe that mechanism has long since broke, but now we get to retire this and replace it with this. Up top, we have the Celebrating Marvel Legends logo. On the side, we have a great image of GR in action. This actually mirrors an image from one of the issues of the comic. I can't remember which one, but I do remember seeing this before. On this side, it's just more window. And then on the back, we have some glamour shots of the bike and GR on the bike, but we're also taking a look at some of the functions, some of the features of the bike. I can't wait to see this. I really like that. So let's not waste any more time. Let's get this open. Let's tear into this. Let's take a look at this, and let's take a look at Hasbro Marvel Legends series celebrating 85 years, Danny Ketch, Ghost Rider. And if you want one of your own, you can get him at Entertainment Earth. Entertainment Earth is your one-stop shop for all toys, clothing, collectibles, and more. Get the newest from Hasbro, Mattel, Bandai, and Super 7, as well as exclusives that can't be found anywhere else. With over 25 years in the business, Entertainment Earth has what you want. Click the link in the description below. Okay, here he is, Ghost Rider out of the box, and I am really excited about this one, guys. Putting the tape measure to him, we can see that he is approximately 6 3/8 to the top of his skull, 6 3/4 to the top of his flames. And going tire to tire without the flame effects right now, we can see that the Hellcycle is 9 1/4 from front of the tire to back of the tire. Just forewarning, I'm going to be completely biased in this review. This looks fantastic to me. I've been waiting so long for a Danny Ketch Ghost Rider, and they did not disappoint. Hasbro did not disappoint when they came through with him. First of all, take a look at the sculpt for this skull. That just looks mean. It's a featureless skull, but it is emoting so much, and it looks fantastic. And I love the detail work they gave on it. This sort of like aged skull look. It's not completely bone white, and he has like some of the highlighting done in here, some of the line work done in here. And look at the eyes just burning red, like the flame that is igniting his skull is shining through the eyes, just enough so that, like, you know, whenever he hits somebody with his penance stare, like, you could just imagine those things just flaring up and growing brighter as they like just burn right into like his victim's soul. That is fantastic. The translucency for the flames coming up from the skull right here is almost seamless. The only place where like there's really a lip is right here at the front, but you can even say that's just a little bit of flicker coming off, because on the sides right here, it just forms to the skull so naturally. It looks really good. It's still, I feel, not the best representation of Ghost Rider's flaming skull. I don't know how you would do that, but I think this is the best that they've done so far. I especially like the flames that are coming up from the neck, that are coming up from underneath the collar of the jacket, and you can see the flames sort of creeping up the back of his neck right there, coming up into the skull, which that is what is lighting up the eyes. Also, check this out. Ah ha ha ha! The jaw is articulated so that you can open and close, so that he doesn't need two face sculpts. He can either have this neutral look, or he can have this shouting from the pits of hell look, and I'm really excited about that as well. The leather of the jacket, a very nice, deep, rich black for his leather jacket. There's some texturing to it as well, which I appreciate. I really dig this, that you can just see like sort of like this aging and this cracking of the leather, and I think that is fantastic. I really like how they have the closure right here. I was really concerned that we had the Johnny Blaze Ghost Rider come out a few years ago, Sans the Motorcycle, and I think that was a reissue or a remake of an older figure, and I was really worried that they were just going to repurpose the upper torso of that figure to turn into this. Now, I don't have that figure, so I've never seen it up close and in hand, but I do believe this is a different sculpt. This is a different torso from that Johnny Blaze we got a few years ago. He has his chain link around his torso right here, which in the comic, it actually was called Manriki Gusari. It wasn't just called the chain. The spiked gauntlets down here, silver painting on the spiked gauntlets, and the spikes on the back of his knuckles on his right hand. Left hand, no spikes, except for the gauntlet right here. Love that. Love all this attention to detail. Spikes coming up off of the shoulders, not exaggeratedly long so that you're not going to be sticking yourself, and there's no worry of breaking because they are kind of soft. They still hurt if you like would try and pinch in on them, but I don't feel like they're going to be brittle and snap, and they're not really going to like poke at you. Once again, we have spikes around his waist right here for the spiked belt with the chain coming off, hanging off at the side right there. Just the gray leather to represent the, or just the gray paint, the gray plastic to represent the leather pants. Once again, we have some real nice texturing going here that matches the texturing of the leather jacket. And then down to the boots, that same rich dark black as his leather jacket, making them match. Biker boots, spiked collar or spiked ring around the one ankle. Everything looks fantastic. And there's not a whole lot as far as detail here, but that's fine because that's the character. That's the way he was represented in the comic. This is his iconic look. You want detail, you want color, you want a wow factor, you go up to the head print, the face sculpt, the skull for that, which this just delivers in abundance. Now that I'm done gushing over that, let's take a look at the articulation. That the head will do a full 360 spin, but as you can see, whoop, shifted that a little bit. As you can see, the flames do sort of make it difficult to do. He can look up somewhat, he can look down okay. Unfortunately, oh, there is tilt. Cool. when I was first playing around with this, it didn't seem like there was a whole lot of tilt side to side, but I like that you do get some tilt out of him. GR should be able to tilt his head. I dig that. I showed you the articulated jaw already, and you saw that it can kind of go a little cattywampus when it got stuck over here. The arms will do a full 360 spin. There is no butterfly joint, but it will come up a little bit past 90, has a bicep swivel, double jointed elbows, which even with those spiked gauntlets have some really nice travel on them. Wrists swivel, wrists hinge in and out. That is for both of them. Both of them hinge in and out right there. It's hidden fairly well. Like, we all know it's here, but it's hidden fairly well. One, because of the dark color, and two, because of the sculpt of the leather jacket, that he has his ab crunch right here, that he can go forward that far, he can go back a ways. And they continue the sculpt, including the seams of the leather jacket up into this piece, so that it just doesn't go to plain plastic. And he has that ratchet joint at the waist so that he can do a full 360 spin right there. No real drop down hips, but the legs will come up to 90 if you turn them to the side. They'll go back that far. They will come out to the side, not at 90, but to there. Thigh cut. Double jointed knees, once again with some really decent travel, especially considering this spiked ring right here. Boot cut. Ankles rock back very well. Ankles rock forward, okay. And we have a forward facing pin for some rocker, and it feels like there's actually detents in that. Can you hear that? Detents for the ankle rock. Out of the packaging, Ghost Rider has a pair of open grip hands that can be used for holding his weapon and the handlebars of the Hellcycle. And he comes with a second set of hands that includes a clenched fists with on the spiked side of his hand and an open hand on his left side. And both of them hinge in and out just like the grip hands do. Now, other than the Hellcycle itself, the only real accessory that he comes with is his flaming chain right here, the unfurled Manriki Gusari that turns into flame at the top end of it. And I really dig how the chain comes up and then it's still chain here as it transitions into the translucent plastic, and then you just see that flaming chain carry around to the other side. Now, there's no bendy wire in this. It is pretty much positioned the way that it is, and you're not going to be able to rebend it in any way. But I like it. I like the look of this. Now, the flame part of it was not originally part of the lore, was not originally part of how this worked. He could actually whip it around and the links would all disconnect and they would turn into shuriken too, and it would give him a ranged effect, and then they would come back and form the chain back up. It was pretty cool. It was real cool. It was very 90s, but it was real cool. The flame effect, I don't think, came until maybe the later days of the comic. And to be completely honest, I'm not even sure that the chain caught on fire until they gave one to Blaze. I can't really recall that. But I do like giving it to him for this. It just adds more flame effects to him, and that is always cool. And it does fit very well into his grip right here, so that he can use it and have it whipping around while he's riding the Hellcycle. Now, this is supposed to be this unfurled. So you can take this off of him if you bring his arm up and you work it up over. Set the jaw again. You can take that off so that whenever you have him posed with this, he doesn't have both chains on. So now we're going to take a look at the Hellcycle, and this is just awesome. Now, as we said previously, from the front of the tire to the back of the tire, it is approximately 9¼ inches long. If we stand it up, we can see, putting the tape measure to it, that from the ground to the top of the windbreak right here, it is roughly almost 5 inches tall. Now, the bike looks great. The bike looks like I imagine it, or like I remember it from the comic. The thing I liked about the bike in the comic was there wasn't a whole lot of engine detail, that when it transformed from the crotch rocket that Danny rode into this, it was basically like this all-enclosed, sleek-looking piece of equipment. You can see a little bit of mechanics back here, but there's not even any exhaust pipes on it. They just made it big and mean and kind of gave it a horse face right here. And I always loved that like it looked like a stallion. It looked like a steed. And that just really like completed the Ghost Rider look, the Ghost Rider mythos for me. He even has sort of like this leather saddle looking driver's seat right here that I always thought was great. Now, looking at some of the detail work, the one criticism I have of this is the open eyes right here. Now, it's not supposed to be like that. They're supposed to be yellow pieces in here. Sometimes they were the headlights. A lot of times they were the headlights, but there was supposed to be some sort of yellow to fill in the spaces here. So I'm probably going to get some pieces of yellow plastic, or maybe some pieces of yellow card, something to glue to the inside of the windbreak right here, just to fill that in so that we don't have these big gaping holes right here. I wonder why the Marvel team chose to do that and they didn't fill those in. But something else that I really like is all of this weathering, all of this battle damage, all of this denting and nicking right here in the front, because the front comes down, slides down, it's a little stiff, slides down into like the battering ram position. Now this isn't quite the way that it did in the books. That, let's move this and take that off. It just slides in there. But in the comics, like, it kind of extended and then dropped down and would be right about there. So that, like, whenever he was busting through things, it actually did act as a battering ram. I dig that it moves. I appreciate that, that it at least comes down. And I wouldn't be posing it like that too much anyway, but I thought it was just worth noting that this isn't exactly the way that the bike handled. Also, while the handlebars do move, the front forks don't, there's no movement there at all. And you can see some other mechanics. Let's get the light on. You can see some other mechanical work up underneath there. And I really like what they did with the few bits of metal that are showing, that they gave it like a nice silver paint, but then they also put some weathering and some detail in there so that the silver mechanics of the bike sort of contrast the smooth matte black of the majority of the body. We have our gauges in here, which cracks me up that the Hellcycle has gauges. Like Ghost Rider really cares how fast he's going, and like it runs on fuel. And speaking of fuel, we have the fuel cap. And this was really cool. This was the Ghost Rider symbol, which became, I believe, the symbol of the Midnight Suns. And the whole point of it was that the gas cap on the bike that he rode, Danny rode when he was not transformed, whenever the Ghost Rider was needed, whenever innocent blood was spilled within a certain vicinity, the gas cap would begin to glow, sort of calling to Danny, saying, hey, we're needed. Danny would touch it, and he would turn into the Ghost Rider. Later, we found out that that was just something he did because he didn't realize that he could change back and forth at will. I know there's a lot of a lore dump going on with this review too, but this is just how much I freaking love Ghost Rider. I dig the flame wheels, and it rolls very nice as well. Now, these foot pegs, there's actually two positions that you can put these foot pegs. You can either have them slung forward like I have them, or you can bring them back so that the pegs are underneath. Now, both of these are accurate to the comic. Sometimes he would have them here, especially if he had a passenger and he had to come forward on the seat and somebody would be on the back. But most of the time, the foot pegs were slung forward and he was in a more reclined position, more of a like total BA position while he was riding. Now, we also have some flame effects for this thing, and these are awesome. Translucent orange. And there's one, and here is the other, and you've probably seen these multiple times, but boom, there we go, so that the Hellcycle is just burning flame as it's riding down the road. And these do help it stand up, and you can see they're just molded to the shape of the tire, so you just set them down, and there they go. I do wonder if these are some of the flame effects from the Hell Charger HasLab that didn't go through. I didn't bother to look at the images to see if it was or wasn't, but I dig it. Now, the one thing that it doesn't have, and this is a nitpick, this isn't a complaint, but there's like no kickstand and it doesn't it's standing up. Okay, so it's making a liar out of me. Like, I have not been able to get this thing to stand up on its own at all. I must have had it balanced just right. But there's no kickstand, so that like when he's off the bike, like you can't just stand it up. But with these pushed forward, you can kind of get a cheat and let it lean like that and just imagine that it's doubling as a kickstand right there. We also have this piece, which is awesome because it has a peg right here. There is a peg hole in the bottom of the bike right here. And you pop that in and you bring this piece in and he's popping a wheelie. And you can get so many iconic images out of him doing this. This is just awesome. You can do it without this piece too, but would you want to? And now for size comparison, here he is beside Hasbro Marvel Legends Taskmaster from the Amazon exclusive Cabal 3-pack and Lady Deathstrike. And looking at GR and Taskmaster right here, I feel like the Marvel Legends team is just sort of like knocking it out of the park with skulls this year. Here he is beside the Hasbro G.I. Joe Classified Series Ripper and Zarana. Here he is beside Valaverse Action Force Bone Collector version 2 and Pandora. Here he is beside Fresh Monkey Fiction Joe Fest exclusives Blood Prince Dracula and Omen of Darkness Forgotten King from Operation Monster Force. Here he is beside Lanyard Toys City Hunter Predator and Xenomorph Drone. Here he is beside Mattel Masters of the Universe Masterverse New Eternia He-Man and Masters of the Universe movie Skeletor. Here he is beside McFarlane Toys Mortal Kombat 11 Spawn and the Spawn series Medieval Spawn. And finally, here he is beside NECA Toys Dungeons & Dragons Warduke and Grimsword. So like I've been waiting for this figure ever since they first announced it. You have no idea how excited I got. I've been waiting for Ghost Rider. I've been waiting for a Danny Ketch version of Ghost Rider. And to be completely honest, with the way that Marvel Comics themselves have been pushing Johnny Blaze and Robbie Reyes, I didn't think we were going to get this version, and I am muy excited that we did. There is very little I have to complain about with this figure, with this set, with this setup. There are a few things that I wish had been done different, yes, which one of them being I wished the eye slots on the front of the Hellcycle were filled in. That's no problem. I'll be able to do that myself. Also, it would have been nice if, considering this was supposed to be like a deluxe set, or it was like at least billed as a deluxe set, I believe, if the neck and head joints would have been able to have been taken off, and then we could get like a Danny Ketch neck accessory and head sculpt to go with it, so that we have like the transformed version of GR and then like the civilian version, Danny, aka Danny Ketch. I would have also liked if the flame chain would have had a bendy wire in it so that we could have posed that and positioned that. And I get when they decided to make the when they made the choice of having half of it be translucent plastic with the flames coming off, I get that they couldn't do it at that point, that it was more like style over function. And I don't hate the choice that they made. I'm not sure it's the choice I would have preferred. But then again, if we would have gotten the chain with the bendy wire in it, I may have been sitting here saying, man, if only it had flame effects on it, that would have just been really cool. I am really hoping, like really hoping this is going to lead to the start of more Midnight Suns and Midnight Suns adjacent figures coming out. And to tell the truth, we kind of are on that path, because we have Ghost Rider right here. We have Marvel's Blade, which came out, I think, at the beginning of the year, and I have him as well. We'll be taking a look at him this month. And then Lilith is on her way, and then there's the Build-A-Figure of Blackheart, and the Midnight Suns version of Michael Morbius actually came out a couple of years ago as part of a Build-A-Figure wave. I can't remember which one that is, but we have a decent amount of the Midnight Suns that we're really only missing a few of like the essentials, one of them being Vengeance and one of them being Johnny Blaze in his civvies with the trench coat and the Hellfire shotgun. Oh, and Mephisto. We also need Mephisto, which I think we have a Mephisto. I just haven't picked one up yet. I don't know. This is definitely changing the way I'm looking at Marvel Legends now, because before I had picked and choose Marvel Legends that I liked, kind of stayed away from X-Men, except for Psylocke, And now it's like, if it's Midnight Suns, because I have the centerpiece of that set now being Ghost Rider, I'm probably going to pick them up. I really like the skull sculpt on this one. I like the paint apps. I like the detail they did to it. I like the burning eyes, the deep red, the yellow burning eyes back there. The flame effects are good. I don't think it's the best that can be done for flame effects for a flaming skull, but I do think it's the best that we have so far. I feel like they still haven't found like that perfect look for just like a skull engulfed in flames. But this is pretty close to perfect in my opinion. I hope this figure sells. I hope this figure sells well. I hope this shows the Marvel Legends team that there is still interest in Ghost Rider. When the Hellcharger HasLab failed, I was really worried they were going to take away the wrong lessons from that and just figure that nobody had an interest in Ghost Rider anymore. I really hope that the sale of this set proves that yes, the Ghost Rider rides again. Don't touch that dial. Before you go, please remember to do all the YouTube things, like, share, comment, and subscribe. If you already are a subscriber, what a legend you are. If you like what we do here and you want to help the channel grow, please consider becoming a member, whether through YouTube memberships or our coffee monthly subscription. Links to that in the description below. Both of them for $1 a month, you can get access to exclusive content, such as our monthly member exclusive video. This month is the Hasbro G.I. Joe Classified Series Stinger. So until next time, my friends, play well, stay safe, stay healthy, and as always, thank you for watching.